Welcome back as the Infernal views take off for one last flight. They've had the initial album, which the critics loved but didn't sell very well. They've had the promising second album. They've had the album in which the record company got fed up with their low sales and made them do more commercial stuff. And now we have the final one, where they know they're not going to get another recording contract. They're just going to go all out. Let's do exactly that. Let's build a very big coaster. So, let's see what I've got. What have I got that's impressive? So, I need to build. Well, it'd be nice if I actually had the Giga Coaster, but I don't think I've got that. So I'm just going to have to build a hypercoaster. Let's build a hypercoaster. Let's build that there. And there. Let's see how we do this. Yes, get it up. Then come up. And there, do we have anything clever lift hills? No, we don't have any clever lift hills, so I'm just going to have to do that. Can we go fast? No, we can't even go fast on that. I'm going to make this purple and black. And they're going to call this Hellfire. And after the villain song from the villain from Disney's Hunchback of Notre Dame. Frollo, who, of course, this is one of the big songs in that. So let's see. Anyway, how long are the trains on this? Oh, they're good and long. Oh, that's good. We can do one of these sneaky lift hills, which gets up like that. Oh, fire engine's broken down. That's bad. We'll make this a big old coaster. So we could do that like that. We go down a little bit like that, and then we're going to take the big drop. So that's the first big drop. We went down sort of from 110 feet, didn't we? So let's go up a bit. 95 feet. Might just about get away with that. Let's see how this goes. Ring of Fire's broken down. Well, that was a kind of. I think that was the whole thing. The whole thing about the song Ring of Fire is about things that are sort of were breaking down. Okay, yes. So, yes, Hunchback I never saw when it came out. There's kind of well, part of the reason for that is it came out at the point when I was that sort of age when, I was a sort of teenager and too cool to be into committing to watching Disney films and things, and partly that there was a weird thing of the Disney Renaissance, which started as with well, actually, here's a very strange thing for people who really want to study this. The Disney Renaissance actually started, and after sort of having apparently made the Billy Joel roller coaster, and after sort of not amazingly received Oliver and Company, they had. Why I say Billy Joel is because Billy Joel played one of the dogs in it. Played the Dodger as some very carefree hound. This hypercoaster is just a series of hills, really. Okay, let's try to make our hypercoaster a bit more exciting. Yeah, I think what I really wanted was the Giga Coaster, which has loads and loads of really good elements. This one kind of doesn't. This one we've just got kind of a few helixes and things. Can we helix here? Can we heal? No. Let's see if we can heal there. Hellfire's in the way. Can I do a long helix? No, it's defiant. It will not let me do this. Which is exactly sort of, what Frollo was in the Hunchback film. He was defiant. Let's do that. So, actually, we can make this small. We can make this sort of a super tight helix. That would be fun. But yes, the Disney Relations, which actually started with Rescuers Down Under, really was kind of the first one to take this leap into improving the standard of animation with a much more computer controlled process. It wasn't really that sort of the one which everybody actually recognises, which is the one where the sort of team started to come good and really hit their mojo was of course Little Mermaid, which had had the songs, had the sort of big musical. I can't remember whether sort of Alan Menken was already on the team for Little Mermaid. I think so. I could be wrong there. Ooh, why did we do that? We should have banked that. Yes, that was the thing which really kind of sparked the Renaissance. That's why Rescues don't underuse the technology, but it was the actual... The Renaissance really sort of kicked off at the point when, that sort of songwriting, that very kind of musical, very sort of Broadway sensibility that Disney brought to their animation with Mermaid kind of took off in the early 90s. And as I may have made mention in my Transport Tycoon videos, this was something that we didn't get to go and see it at the cinema. I don't think we were kind of, well off enough to go and take. Well, kind of. I think one of those families which was kind of very much. I know people like sort of their kids involved in things, but I think you grew up really with one of those families where we don't want to take the children to the cinema until we can sort of fully trust them to not ruin it for anyone else. So we didn't really go to the cinema until quite late. Yes, anyway, less about that, more about the... So anyway, so this was one of those films that I knew people had it on VHS tapes that we knew and things like that, but they really got to see it. So a lot of those passed by, and then because we got to the... As I say, so as I mentioned in one of my Transport Tycoon videos, we could cut into this. This would be fun, wouldn't it? We sort of subsisted on kind of what you kind of call the sort of the also around Disney, the stuff which used to be that's interesting, which used to be on even shown on TV before they had the whole thing about opening and closing the vault and whatnot. Yes, these kind of relationships. But by the time they had that run, so they had Mermaid, and then Beauty and the Beast and Aladdin, and then sort of by the time we actually got old enough, I was old enough to be trusted to go to the cinema and not to cause some sort of unwanted commotion. But The Lion King was the big film, and The Lion King is kind of interesting in terms of Disney history, because it was only really intended to kind of hide things over. Oh, where did Hellfire start? Well, it's all the way back over there. It was intended really to tide things over until what was supposed to be the really, really big hit. The Pocahontas came out, and this was kind of a surprise to Disney. That's sort of I guess not quite the Beast. Well, that's lost a lot of momentum. Do we have boosters or anything we can boost this with? No. I think this might need another lift hill. Bad coaster design, Timberwolf. Bad. But it'll be fine. We'll come around here. 30 feet or so. Oh, no, we won't. So, somebody a little bit. I don't really want to go too much over on this, so I might actually just go with. See if we can go around Hellfire this way, and then sort of come back round this way as we go over here. So yes, like I remember this going to what was at the time Disneyland Paris. I think it had just been renamed from Euro Disney. It was shortly after they'd built Space Mountain. We went sort of had a long trip out there, and I remember the big thing that they were trying to promote there was Pocahontas, which was sort of just coming out in cinemas. It was sort of due soon, as it were, and obviously they had all of the kind of the entertainments and shows and things at the park, and sort of. Yes, but it's kind of in that crossover, because the shops and stalls, which obviously take a bit longer to put together, and we're still kind of very much doing Lion King stuff, so there were Lion King themed drinks and African themed restaurants and things, and lots of kind of Lion King stuff around the park. People wearing lots of Lion King t-shirts and things, or because of course it was France, it was the Roi Lion, of course, not but yes. So that came, and then the thing is that kind of all that stuff with the going to Disney and yes, as I say, this was shortly after they'd opened the European Space Mountain, which was a really good ride. So that was still Jules Verne themed as well, sort of, towards the canon, and was quite something compared to UK rides, which were still very small at that point. And you bear in mind that there were Fort Park, all of the rides at the Fort Park. They hadn't even built Nemesis Inferno, they hadn't built Colossus or anything. So the only thing Fort Park really had was the Flying Fish, sort of little kiddie coaster, and then it was really all about water rides. But sort of the Rapids ride there and the Loggers Leap, which I think is now sadly closed, but it's a really good log flume. And then Chessington kind of only had the Vampire at that point. So this ride, which has sort of launch cannon and inversions and theming, and then kind of sound that goes with it, was really like, wow, this roller coaster is just how incredible can they be? Anyway, I digress. I love the fact that I'm getting my video about coasters is getting off topic, and I'm talking about coasters when in fact I want to be talking about the Pocahontas stuff. So they were trying to promote Pocahontas heavily, and even from that, and I know with these things, there's a certain sort of, a lot of this is what you grew up with. I'm aware that I'm going to probably be trampling on people's lovely childhood memories, but it kind of really always came across from the way they were promoting it that this was not going to be as good a film. And I'd still stand by that it doesn't really, it's too disconnected. The story kind of just, Pocahontas doesn't really do enough protagonisting, and that could bleed off some more momentum here. This goes about such an over-the-top roller coaster. By which I mean, the story kind of just happens around her, and she's kind of just a sort of a bit player in it, really. And you kind of want more. You kind of want more action. And as Noel Sharpson, obviously his name, and points out, it's absolutely infested with animal sidekicks. It just is so over the top on merchandise and all things, and just, like, you kind of feel that this thing was, and that's a raccoon character that's just in there to sell Happy Meals. And they, again, the animal sidekicks, they don't really connect to the story in any meaningful way. They just kind of up around the edges, sort of just doing their thing, and it's not a horrendous. I wouldn't go and say, oh, it's an awful movie and nobody should ever watch it. I know there's some issues with portrayal of Native Americans and things like that, which Disney never had the most amazing history with this sort of stuff. I think they did at least try. They tried casting the Native American actors and things like that, but there's still. Yes, it's a film which is with problems, and then the songs are kind of, nothing really hits the high end. This comes off the back of the fact that Sir Elton John did a fantastic job with The Lion King. They are. I'm not going to do it because it would be somewhat embarrassing to do on stream, but I'm fairly sure I could probably quote the lyrics to them straight off. Whereas, like Pocahontas was, it's like I may remember Colours of the Wind or things like that. But what that means is, because that kind of film, and it felt, because we knew this happened to Disney, right? They had the same thing happen from the 60s into the 70s, or this amazing kind of, the sort of Jungle Book and things like that. These sort of Sherman Brothers songs and everything. And they kind of went into that sort of dark period in the early 80s. You kind of were sort of thinking, well, that's it. That's never going to be any good. And it kind of meant that I didn't really, until a lot later on, realised that things like Hunchback, which Hunchback of Notre Dame, the Disney Hunchback of Notre Dame, took a little while to kind of grab me. Let's actually do this in sort of Quasimodo's colours. There it took a little bit of time to really excite. Excite, just the wrong word. And yes, it took me a little bit of a while to actually really get into it. And it's the third or fourth watch. We tend to watch quite a lot of Disney. It actually really comes across as it starts into the story, starts the fact that it's got some really strong songs, it's got some good characters, and there's actually quite a good sort of run. There's a second Renaissance run, of Hercules, which is so over the top, and there's sort of, I forget the actor's name, whoever performed Hades in it, does an incredible, fantastic job with it. And then, of course, you get into the sort of the later ones. I think there's a couple. There's Lilo and Stitch, which is such a sort of heartwarming, charming tale. And there is this kind of second Renaissance where Disney kind of did things that were a little bit more experimental in some places, a little bit weirder in certain places. Does it have an on-ride photo? Does this need an on-ride photo? Who cares? There we go. That's it. Job done. Make sure you wait for a full load on this, because I think this is going to be quite a long ride. But yes, because kind of Pagodas just wasn't really... Oh, yes, this is really exciting. It's a really great ride. Church. Oh, there's the Giga Coaster that I wanted. Damn you, research tree. So, let's build the Giga Coaster. There's a very Disney-esque sound. Well, no, the very Disney-esque sound would be endless playing of It's a Small World. That would be that. Sincerely, let's finish up. Let's build the Giga Coaster. We've wasted so much time on that. So, what was this theme? Psychedelic music, and then we ended up talking about Disney. Well, so let's do this. Let's build a nice little Giga Coaster. This is kind of a shame, really, that this has the cable lifter. I can never remember how the cable lifter works. Let's just try it. Ooh, okay. Okay. I haven't talked about Space Mountain. I think this is how the Space Mountain lift hill works. So what I'm going to do is not going to build it in that direction. I'm going to build it in the other direction. Feels like much more sensibleness going on. We're going to come up. So we're going to go out of here, straight up to steep from here. And then we're going to do the cable lift hill. Then we're going to go, I know we could do another sort of down like that, and then we can come down like that. There we go. Then probably just go nicely up here. What's that, 80 feet? That probably will work. Maybe. Yes, right, let's check that this actually does work as cable lift hill. Yes, there we go. So that comes down to meet that, and boom. That goes up. Oh. Does this actually, what? Why does this not work? So the entrance not yet built, right? Let's build an entrance here. So we actually get this to... Okay. So I don't want to really test this until... Okay, so it needs to be a continuous circuit. Well, let's... Okay, well, let's trust that this is going to work. Because I can see that going down somewhere to try to connect with this. So I think this might work. Let's just see. So I'm going to ignore the simulation. I'm going to just let this go out round here. And I'm going to go round like this. It's going to be a nice smooth coaster, I think. Yep. Yes. So, not going to try to go too high with it or anything like that. There you go. Maybe go around a little sort of helix down here. Yeah, there we go. And so yes, it's kind of a shame that Pagoda's kind of put me off their later Disney, because there's actually really quite good until they got into that. Then they got into that sort of thing of they started 3D animation, and kind of Pixar really became big, and then DreamWorks started doing their 3D animation. I think Disney kind of struggled with what do we do with traditional animation after this, and they kind of, there's some early signs that they were sort of not really sure what was going on. If you start looking at the development history of what eventually became oh gosh, what is the Cusco one called? It's originally supposed to be called Empire of the Sun, isn't it? So I draw a complete blank. I'm also drawing a roller coaster which is going to go somewhere where it can't actually go. So let's fix that. So yes, let's fix that roller coaster. The Emperor's New Groove. That's it. There you go. And yes, that had a very, very troubled development history. And that really was supposed to be another one of those sort of very, very grandiose films, and then kind of got retooled into a comedic film. Not in some sort of try to salvage things. It's supposed to be a really grand musical style film, and there wasn't, and it really kind of ended up being quite a sort of low budget finish, because so much money had been spent on kind of trying to rescue it earlier on that there wasn't really much left to do other than comedic. It worked out well. Cannot say watching it back that the Emperor's New Groove did not work out well. But, okay, so let's have some brakes here. A little bit of brakes. 18 miles an hour. That's probably a little slow. We should possibly put an on-ride photo section on it, shouldn't we? Not been very good at those. Let's put the on-ride photo section on there. Yes. Okay, so we've got an entrance, we've got an exit. I think we've got an exit. Yes, we have got an exit. We don't need to build another one. So let's test this. Let's see if this chain lift actually works. This was just a simulation issue. See, there it goes, sloping down there, and hopefully picks up the train. Yes, there we go. That's what I wanted to happen. I'm going to get this. Let's get that in there. Let's see how exciting this comes out as. Maybe a scenario winning. So I'm actually going to call this. I'm going to. Let's change the tone. Let's change the tone completely from Disney. Let's change it to Rammstein. And this actually is a slight misnomer, me calling this Feuerfrei, because Feuerfrei is not actually a song about fire. Well, that is indeed the German word for it. It is a song mostly about artillery, which is where the phrase Feuerfrei comes from. But there's a good association between Rammstein and fire, so I think we tolerate that. Most of their songs, the lyrics translate as. Oh yes, yeah. These have great stats, don't they? They really get exciting without any intensity. So we open that. It's most Rammstein songs translate as. I'm sorry, I set your things on fire. Oh, that's okay, I didn't like them anyway. Let us go to the shops and buy new things. Flame retardant ones. Before you all write in, yes, I know that's not the case. I know there's lots of sort of burning and pain in my heart going on. I just like the idea that because it's a language that I only understand a bit of, I can pretend it's something else. Now, I was expecting to be kind of more winning the scenario here. I think that's because all this stuff is broken down. I think it's because they're not open. Let's hire a new mechanic. Let's see this. So let's have a look at this. So let's check. So that is a Disco Inferno is a roller coaster. Feuerfrei is a roller coaster. Fire is a roller coaster. Counting coasters. Fire Brigade is not a roller coaster. Fire Brigade Dodgements. Fire Engine, that's a coaster. Fire in My Bones, that's a coaster. Firestarter is not a coaster. The Firestarter is a thingum. Hellfire is, yes, that's a big coaster that we built while ragging on Pocahontas and probably making millions of people going, billions, lovely millions of viewers to get. If I have millions of viewers getting annoyed by that, even if there's sort of a hugely high proportion of people getting annoyed, I would still be quite happy about that. Let's say a million dislikes would still suggest that we didn't start the fire. Hang on here. I will fire the card. So 2, 3, 4, 5. Ah, yes. And so it's because all these rides are broken and they're breaking down. So let's get more mechanics out. And we should. Oh yes, fire is now broken down. So we might need a spare roller coaster just to speak to the scenario. It's only year 2. I don't know why they're breaking down so much. I think that is because mechanics are kind of not getting round to it. There's a lot of getting round to it which is not happening. That's mechanics fixing it. So as long as nothing else breaks down, that should be us winning the scenario. Come on. This is not the high intensity end that I wished for here. Why is my mechanic so slow? Come on, fix it. There we go. That's a ride. So the other question actually is, do I have enough excitement across all of these? So 7.2, 6.0, 6, 6.83, 6. So, in fact, I wonder what's going on there. So what might be going on here is that 2 of these... of course, 10 different roller coasters. And I have done the most foolish thing in the world. I built two wooden roller coasters. So let's build very simple air-powered vertical coaster. So this is going to be very, very quick because... Oops. Let's build the top section of that. And then slope to level. Oops. Ooh. We actually can't build that there like that. You need to build a little bit more. Okay. There we go. Let's slope to vertical. 1, 2, 3. Roll a top hatch over that. 1, 2, 3. Blimey, this is a real space hog, this roller coaster. Oh, no. This is all going horribly wrong. Right at the end as well. We wanted it to go well. I wanted to go, hooray, I've beaten the scenario. And actually, no, none of that's happening. And then, yes, slope to level. There we go. And there. Entrance there and an exit there. And let's call this, well... let's call it after a lovely stones track. We didn't have wild horse. We can have play with fire. It's actually a B-side. And it's a shame because I think traffic, well, that might be a bit intense. You might get a penalty for that. Let's see how that goes. Yes, I think it's the B-side to... I think it's the B-side to the last time. It's going to be too much. It's going to be too much. Let's back it off a little bit. Turn the volume down. Yes, so because I think it's actually Play with Fire. I think it's better than its A-side. Oh, there we go. Look at that. That's nice. So let's Play with Fire. It's already in a nice sort of fiery colour, so something going to arbitrarily charge 10 pounds, but I think it'll be quite exciting. I'm going to open it up and let's see how we go. Ah, yes. So much for watch me play the game. I'm good at it. I just built 2 wooden coasters and totally failed. There we go. Look at that. That's what we wanted. That's too many fire references. Pop some balloons. And I think that is rather late in the day, so I shall sign off there, having probably, if anybody's still watching after the Pocahontas incident, and I shall see you when we come back to do the expert parks.